I did not have stations for my passenger train last time I operated my layout. Today, I'm using my 3D printer and some free software to fix that. I want to make simple passenger platforms so that I can have places for a commuter train to run to on my layout. They need to go here and here. This basically takes people from the town on my layout to a concentration of industries. I decided I wanted to use my filament printer, which is a Prusa Mini, to make these, and for the first time, I'm making them as a sort of kit. I hop into Tinkercad, which is my 3D modeling software of choice, and I start designing. Tinkercad is totally free and is based on a website, so you don't have to download anything onto your computer to use it. I am creating a simple covered concrete platform. This entire design process took about an hour, and I do talk through it in this recording. If you want to see me talk through this, though, it is available on my Patreon at the $2 a month Signalman tier and higher. Otherwise, we would be here a really, really long time. One thing that I want to show is how I created the slots where the awning would attach to the base. I aligned it to the platform and got some hole cubes. You can actually just pull hole cubes off of the little grab bar for where all your shapes are. The hole in Tinkercad is basically an invisible shape that's kind of like a negative space. Then when you merge it with a regular shape, it's going to cut away whatever it was touching on the regular shape. So it makes it a lot easier to just kind of cut exact sections out. And you can turn any shape into a hole just by clicking this button right up here. I aligned them up with the depth and gave them about a 0.5 millimeter space on each side of the awning support to give a little bit of space so that the support could fit in the hole. I then merged the hole cubes with the platform, and boom, I've got slots for the awning to attach to. That is a lot for some of you, I know, and you're probably like, what? If you're really interested in doing this kind of thing, you can definitely look at that full video I have on my Patreon. So let's keep going. Once I had everything completed, I went ahead and prearranged the pieces. Notice that I flipped the awning upside down. This is so that I could print it without supports, and that's going to make it a lot easier to clean up and get on the model. Once the pieces were arranged, I exported it as an STL and brought it into my slicer. A slicer is a program that takes a 3D model file and converts it and gets it ready to go into a printer. I'm using Prusa Slicer since I'm using a Prusa printer, but you can use something like Cura or a slicer that came with the printer that you bought. There are tons of tutorials on all the different slicers that are out there, and many of the slicers are free. I make sure to add supports and then slice the model. Slicing is the process of turning objects into a series of layers that 3D printer can read, and it can draw out each layer and build your object. So now that we're all done, we've got it all sliced, we can take it off to print. Now we have a wonderful print. It does have these little fibers between the awning supports, and I expected this. This is called stringing, and an easy way to get rid of this is to first remove as much as you can, then lightly hit it with a heat gun or a hair dryer. Don't do too much because you will warp the plastic. Once we're done, we can take it off for a little bit of paint. I'm going to paint the awning this dark green. I've seen quite a few awnings painted this color, and I really think that this will look nice. Once the awnings have dried, I use super glue to put them in place. This model is printed with PLA plastic, and plastic cement will not work on it. However, if you print with ABS, which is a material that a lot of injection molded parts are made out of, plastic cement will work better with that. And here are the finished platforms. They're simple, but they get the job done. By the way, that RDC, that railway diesel car, that is actually a 42-year-old Concours in scale RDC that I converted to DCC, and it runs incredibly well. So I'm definitely going to be converting more Concours in the future, but I digress. This is just a great way to use your 3D printer. It's a simple project. If you're looking to get into 3D printing for model railroading, doing things like platforms and things like that are a great way to get started. All I gotta do now is get the scenery adjusted and blend it in, but overall I'm very happy with the way these turned out, and it's going to be easy to detail them, and especially with using a filament printer instead of a resin printer, I'm really happy with the way that these turned out. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Jimmy from the DIY and Digital. Stay safe, be kind, and happy railroading.